and welcome to City Talk, where we are talking about great things happening here in the city of Columbia. I'm your host, Leshia Utsey, and with us today we have Erika Moore, who is the city clerk and the clerk to council for the city of Columbia. Thank you, Erika, for joining us.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me.
Now, we're going to talk about a very important topic today, which is the upcoming city election.
Yes.
There are several questions, some that were brought about because of the recent flood.
Okay.
And I know one of the questions that has been coming in from various citizens has been, will the election be held due to the flood? Were any of the polling locations destroyed, or were any polling locations changed because of the flood? So let's start off with that so we can make sure that our citizens are aware.
Okay. So yes, the election will be held on Tuesday, November 3rd, 2015, from the hours of 7 a.m. until 7 p.m. Voters can get out and vote.
Okay.
No precinct locations have changed. Nothing has changed. We've checked all of the precincts and they're all accessible.
Okay, great. So really anyone thinking, do I have to go to a different precinct? That is not the case.
That is not the case. And if it changes between now and November 3rd, we will notify the public.
Okay. Now, Erika, speaking of voters and voter information, if someone's wondering, well, do I have everything I need in order to vote on November 3rd? What should they do since it is so close to Election Day?
That is such a great question. If you have any doubt in your mind about your voter registration, your voter location, any questions at all, you should go online first to www.scvotes.org.
Okay.
That is a great resource for voter information. A second resource would be to contact Richland County Elections and Voter Registration at 803-576-2240.
Okay.
And if all else fails, feel free to call me at any time. We can be reached at 803-545-3045, or you can email me at cityclerk@columbiasc.net.
Okay. Now, I know you give the hours when the precincts are open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m.
Yes.
And, of course, any questions or trying to seek clarity about, well, can I vote? Have I did everything I need to vote? Then you can visit that website or make that call.
Correct.
Okay. Now, some of the things that people may be thinking about, does it matter if you've moved since the last time you voted? You know, things of that nature. What are some things that people may not even think about right now, but you want to key them into to say, well, if these things have happened, you may want to check?
Well, certainly, if you've moved within your precinct or within your county, you want to check your voter registration. Not only do you want to check it, you want to go and have it updated. You can update it online at the websites given, or you can go over to 2020 Hampton Street and do it in person. If you've had your name changed, whether it was by marriage or divorce, or just the name changed by virtue of doing so, you would want to change your voter registration.
Now, those things you just mentioned, would they have to have been done by a certain date, or can someone still do that and still vote on November 3rd?
Most of the parameters we've outlined, they have time up until November 2nd to make those things happen. Even on election day, if you run into problems with your ID, name change, address change, you can always go to 2020 Hampton Street, even on November 3rd, to have those changes addressed.
Okay, so even on November 3rd, you
That's
can do that.
correct. And another point I'd like to make, that we've had many citizens displaced because of the flood. You would still be able to vote. You don't have to worry about changing your address just because you've been displaced due to the flooding.
Okay. Now, again, a flooding question. Since you said a lot of people have been displaced, that really brought up a really, good point. If someone has lost their ID because of the flooding, they can't find out whether it was destroyed, especially photo ID, what should they do?
You still go to your precinct and you vote, but you'll be given a fail-safe ballot. You won't vote on the machine directly. You'd have to fill out certain paperwork, but it's a very short questionnaire. And just state what you've said, that you've misplaced your ID due to flooding, and they will address that issue, but you will be allowed to vote.
Okay. All right. Now, other questions, for example, people try to figure out precincts. You go to the website for that, or you can make the call.
Right.
Okay. Say it's the day of, and you probably won't be in your office on election day, because I know that you actually have to physically, be at the site, at 2020 Hampton Street, diligently working. Still, what's the best number to call if it's day of? Say it's November 3rd, morning of, day of, and it's like, oh, I forgot to ask this question. Can they still call that 576 number with the county? I know they could still maybe go to the website, but if they're not sure about who to call or contact, what's the best way to figure things out, I guess, on the day of.
You still call 803-576-2240. They will have a call center set up with many workers that will be answering your calls and answering your questions.
Okay. Now, a question someone asked me, they said, well, if I vote, when do we actually find out who wins the election?
Okay. Preliminary results will be available maybe about 9 or 10 o'clock that evening.
Okay.
But the votes are certified 2 days later. So on Thursday, November 5th, we'll have the certified results.
Okay. And when you say certified results, what does that mean?
It means that the Municipal Election Commission has met. They've reviewed the vote count. We've reviewed the audit of the election, and that the commission has reviewed any fail-safe or provisional ballots and determined whether or not to include those ballots in the final count. So certified means that it has been reviewed thoroughly and that we believe those numbers to be accurate.
Okay. A question about if someone's sitting at home now and wondering, oh, I'm not sure if I'm registered to vote. Is it too late to actually register to vote?
It is too late to register to vote for this election. However, we want you to register to vote as soon as possible so that you can participate in future elections, whether it be for local government or federal government. The deadline was October 4th.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other deadlines that you want to share in case someone has missed some deadlines? At least they'll know that going in.
Absentee voting. Absentee voting is still underway until Monday, which will be November 2nd. So you'll have until 5 p.m. on Monday, November 2nd to head over to 2020 Hampton Street and cast your absentee ballot.
Okay. All right. Anything else you can think of since you are the expert on all things voting?
Well, I think the main thing is just to exercise your right to vote. So all of this would be in vain if you didn't.
Okay. And if you could give us date again for the election and the hours when the precincts will be open.
The election will be held on Tuesday, November 3rd, 2015, between the hours of 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. Anyone in line at 7 p.m. can vote.
Okay. So if you get off from work at 5 or 6 and you think it's too late, it's really not too late.
Head out and vote.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Erika.
Thank you.
If you could share contact information again, the website and the 2 numbers, and we'll close on that note.
Okay. Visit www.scvotes.org for all voting information.
Okay.
Contact Richland County. They have a great website, but also contact them by phone at 803-576-2240. Feel free to visit the City of Columbia's website for additional election information, and also call the clerk's office at 803-545-3045.
Okay. Erika, thank you so much for sharing this very important information, because this is an important election, and it's always important for our citizens to vote.
I agree. Thank you.
Okay. Again, November 3rd is City Election Day for the municipal election. Any information you need, please visit the website that Erika Moore has shared and call one of the numbers that she shared. And of course, always check the city's website at columbiasc.net. And remember, get out and exercise your right to vote.